and let's just get into it. Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
I'm Dr. Katie Wilson. I'm the Executive Director for the Urban School Food Alliance. My background is in school nutrition. I was a school nutrition director for 23 years in Wisconsin in a number of districts, and then was the Executive Director for the Institute of Child Nutrition, which is the training arm for USDA, for 5 years. And at that point, I went up to the Obama administration as Deputy Undersecretary for Food, Nutrition, and Consumer Services. And so in 2019, I started as the first executive director and the first paid staff for the Urban School Food Alliance.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Can you tell us a bit about Urban School Food Alliance?
Yeah, the Urban School Food Alliance is a collection of the largest districts in the country. The districts have to have 50,000 or larger enrollment in order to join the alliance. And so right now we have 18 of the largest districts in the country, and they've really come together under three pillars. One is procurement, which means the collective group together can use the power of procurement to change the marketplace. Right now, with all 18 districts, we have about close to $1 billion in spend that they do. And so we know that that can change the marketplace. The second pillar is advocacy. So we work very hard at educating lawmakers on the logistics of school meals and what's needed to make sure that these are efficient and effective programs. And then the third one is best practices. Because these districts are so large, they have such unique challenges that they come together numerous times a year and really share what are their challenges and how do they find solutions to do that. So those three pillars really drive our work, and we usually use our collective voice to change school food.
Awesome. And what is your vision for school food?
Well, my vision for school food and along with the Alliance is that there's just an ample supply of healthy local food that kids become used to, that kids are looking for and wanting, so that then, of course, the acceptance would be high. And so we really have to look at this holistically. And how does the school food play into the economy, the local economics of the community? How does it support that? How does it support children making better choices and being exposed to new foods? And then ultimately, how does it support their well-being and their ability to be successful in the classroom and with academics studies?
My name is Jill Kidd. I'm the Director of Procurement and Business Innovation Initiatives for the Urban School Food Alliance. I was a school food service director for 34 years in Colorado, and I was the administrator for a large statewide cooperative for most of that time. And then I came to the Alliance in 2020 during COVID.
Awesome. And then we'll go back to
Sure.
it was
Ask the question again.
Yeah, I think it was that was your response to what success have you seen in leveraging procurement power to reduce the misuse of antibiotics in food animal production?
The Alliance adopted a no antibiotics ever standard for chicken products in 2014, and our members used that standard on their solicitations immediately after that. And they made it very clear to industry that they would stop buying chicken if they didn't have no antibiotics ever certified chicken. And the industry has been really responsive, and now it's available pretty widely across the school food industry if you're looking for a no antibiotics ever chicken products. From the beginning, it was the goal of the Alliance to change the marketplace for school food to higher quality food for students. And the no antibiotics ever for chicken products was the first step that they took to deliver that message and obtain healthier products for students.
So moving on to the next question, can you talk about how large institutions, especially K through 12 systems, can shift the marketplace?
Oh, we can use our collective voice to drive change in the marketplace. As Dr. Wilson mentioned, and that we highlight frequently, is that we have just short of $1 billion in annual purchases, and that is a significant enough procurement to really help drive change in the marketplace.
Awesome. And then how do you and your member districts set standards and let vendors know what your purchasing commitments are?
Our members include the standards in their solicitation. We share the standards on our website and with our vendors on a regular basis. And as they're included in the formal bid for chicken products or for turkey products, it is part of the evaluation of the bid and the award of a bid.
Can you talk a little bit more about when do they send out bids? Is it a yearly thing? Is it a quarterly thing?
Okay.
Our members
our members send out bids on a bid cycle. And depending on the state that they're in, it might be a 1-year bid, it might be a 1-year renewable for 3 or 4 consecutive years after that. So when we establish a new standard, it could take up to 4 to 5 years before it hits everybody's bid. It's a long process, and they're not all on the same bid cycle.
Next page. So what challenges do you face in the shifting marketplace to meet your higher food standards?
With the current supply chain challenges that we're seeing in the school food marketplace, we've seen a reduction in the number of manufacturers, distributors, and the number of products that are actually available to school food service. As those reductions occur, in some cases, manufacturers have chosen to reduce or eliminate their no antibiotics ever or their CROW certified products. And then we've had to make adjustments, or in some cases, take the item off the menu if it's not available as NAE or CROW.
Have you seen really major issues with that, with the lack of supply?
Turkey's probably been the product that's been most impacted. What we're seeing is a shift from certified responsible antibiotic use certified turkey to NAE turkey. And that's the product that's becoming more available in the market. It is on a very limited basis. Los Angeles Unified was able to serve NAE turkey. They were able to do it for 1 day. And the supply chain was gone. So it's a very limited supply when you get into the turkey products.
Okay. And that just ends up with like a lot of things just not being on the menu.
Right.
Okay. How can other groups help you achieve your food procurement goals?
We're always happy to share our work with other groups and with other school districts. And as we move forward and continue to support higher food quality for students, you can help by donating to the Urban School Food Alliance to support our work. You can join on, you go to our free website, use our tools and our standards, and implement them in your school district. It's the more of us that are delivering the same message, the louder the message is.
That was awesome. And then our last question, which you guys can both jump in to answer if you like. What is one thing that people can do to actually help battle superbugs?
Okay. I think that this is a much, bigger question to really sit down and think about, to avoid superbugs. Well, first of all, food safety, of course, is one of the biggest pieces, right? So making sure that everything in the kitchen and in the facility is according to all HACCP rules, and having lots of good standard operating procedures, educating employees and allowing them not to come to work if they're sick. Those are all pieces that started. But with the food itself, I think what Jill said is very accurate. The more of us that demand better, the better it's going to be. Because if we're going to continue to flood our food supply with antibiotics, for instance, that we need if we're really ill, that's going to be a problem. That's where superbugs come from because they become so resistant. And so I think each one of us as consumers, first of all, we have a role to play in this, and that is that we have to demand better. We have to look for the information about NAE. Never ever antibiotic free. Never had antibiotics, because as we all know, all chicken on the grocery shelf says antibiotic free because they can't sell it unless it's absolute, unless it's been cleared. So it could have antibiotics while it's been raised, but once it hits the shelf, they can probably say antibiotic free on it because technically it is. But what we want is the use of no antibiotics, a better growing process, which lends itself to more humane treatment of animals. If you crowd 3,000 chickens into a pole barn that should only have 100, and there's only space for 100 animals to live, and they're on top of each other, and their skin is burned, and they're in their own waste materials, and they're pecking each other, and the dead animals are laying around, that's a formula for a superbug. And so if we treat animals better, we don't need so many antibiotics, and let's leave antibiotics for the medical field. And so for us, it's a whole circle of things that help avoid superbugs. And that is the overuse of antibiotics is what's creating some of these superbugs. And so with the volume that we create, and for us, if we begin to buy this product and we begin to require it on our bids in our large districts, it's all everybody's going to get in school nutrition, because once they do the runs or they do the growing for our districts in the volume, then the rest of the volume just comes right along with it. And so I think we start as consumers, as individuals, and then we bring it into the institutional marketplace, because that's where then we can finally say enough's enough, and we're going to demand better.
I think that was great. Kathy, do you have anything else?
It was fabulous. Thank you, Katie. I have two more questions. One is sort of just Katie, to give you a shot at what can folks do to help you meet your food procurement goals, but I want to narrow the question a little bit. So what can research and advocacy and policy groups like the Antibiotic Resistance Action Center and our network of allies, what can groups like that do to help you as the alliance achieve your food procurement goals?
I really think that that's a great question. And what we need from you is information. Simple, simplistic, one-page pieces of information. The difference between ABF, NAE. Okay, so just a difference so that they're not fooled, because a lot of companies are going to say to you, well, it is antibiotic free. Okay, but it doesn't mean that it's never had antibiotics. So this educational piece is really critical as to, number one, what are they getting and how should they word it on the bid? And the other piece then is why? Why do we need this? Because of course there's a whole nother voice saying that it's safe. And so the information and scientific research that says this is why this is such a critical factor in our health and well-being going forward.
Okay. Can you just tell us a little bit about what inspires you most and continues to inspire you and continues to energize you in working on school food?
Well, I think both Jill and I can answer this because she's done the most work in this area, especially with the antibiotic free. But, that question comes up all the time because there's so many challenges in school food. But what energizes me the most is the hope for the future. That if we're not out there, I always ask people, if not you, then who? And if not now, then when? And I ask myself that question in the mirror. So if we're not here working for this, pushing this forward, who's going to do it? And so there's a real sense of satisfaction when you know you're doing something that is for the good of all. Anybody that's going to eat this food is going to be better off. Their well-being of the population is going to be better if we improve these processes and these systems and how our food comes through the system. So I'll let Jill finish the answer to that question.
Kathy, go ahead. What energizes you?
Would love to know what inspires you most and energizes you to continue the fight and continue working to improve school food.
Well, throughout my long career in child nutrition, what's always driven me is the fact that, hungry kids can't learn. And you really need to have beyond hunger, beyond solving hunger, you need them to be healthy kids. And we need to feed them good food that keeps them going and has them ready to learn. It's so important to the future of the country. And after working in school food for 34 years and having the opportunity to come and work with much larger districts and have the potential to solve some of the challenges and problems that I complained about and worked on for 34 years, it was just a great opportunity to continue that work and to hopefully use the strength of this large group of urban districts to move that marketplace and improve the school child nutrition marketplace.